Dear students, welcome to the fourth session of the physics class. In this class, I am going to talk about balanced and unbalanced forces and another concept, equilibrium of a particle under the action of many forces. Let us see balanced and unbalanced forces. Balanced and unbalanced forces. The force may have certain effects on those objects on which we are applying it, and in this session we are going to study such effects. In the previous session you have studied the concept, that is momentum. Momentum is the product of mass into velocity, and momentum contains mass and velocity. And you also studied that force changes the momentum. Force has the capacity to change the momentum. Then force can change what? Either mass or velocity or both. Masses cannot be changed. This is because mass is a content which always remains constant. It means that whenever we apply a force on an object, its velocity changes. But it depends on the direction. For example, an object is moving in this direction. This is the direction of motion of the object. If the force is applied in the direction of motion, then velocity of the object increases. If the object is moving in this direction and the force is applied in the opposite direction, in that case velocity of the object decreases. If the applied force and the motion of the object both are in the same direction, then the velocity of the object increases. If the applied force and the motion of the object are in the opposite direction, in that case velocity of the object decreases. But definitely force will changes the velocity. This is the first effect of force. Let us consider one example. Here is a box. A boy pushes this box with a force, say F1, 10 Newton in this direction, say from left to right. Simultaneously, another boy pushes the same box with a force F2, that is 10 Newton. In this case, force is applied from left to right. In this case, the force is applied from right to left. So both forces are acting on the same box. Then is the box moves? No, obviously no. Now you know that this is because in this case the two forces are acting on the body which has the same magnitude, but they are acting in the opposite direction. Because of this, the net force acting on the body is equal to 0. And you studied in the Newton's first law. It says that when no external force acting on the body, then the body remains in the state of rest or of uniform motion. So in this case, the net force F is equal to the sum of these two forces, that is the vector sum, that is 10 minus 10, because this force is acting opposite to this force, that is 0 Newton. The net force is equal to 0 Newton. That means no external force acting on this body, which means that there is no acceleration. No acceleration. No change in momentum. no change in momentum or no momentum in the body. And here the effective force exerted by the force F1 is balanced by F2. Similarly, effective force exerted by force F2 on F1 is balanced by F1. Therefore, these two forces are balanced each other, hence the net force becomes 0, and such forces are called as balanced forces. Balanced forces. So the condition for balanced force is that the net force should be equal to 0, so that there is no motion of the body, there is no acceleration, there is no momentum of the body. Let us consider another case. The same box which is pushed by a single boy only. The boy exerts a force, say 10 Newton, on this box, and there is no opposing force. I am avoiding here the resistive forces. Therefore, no forces acting on this body, only the applied force, that is 10 Newton. In this case, you observe that this body or this box keeps on moving until the boy pushes it. That means here is the motion of the body. This is because of this force. Here the net force is equal to applied force in the absence of resistive force, and that's equal to 10 Newton. Such force is called as unbalanced force. Unbalanced force. When there is an unbalanced force acts on a body, force is not equal to 0. This force produces motion in the body box. Therefore, there is an acceleration produced and there is a change in momentum also. And such forces which is responsible for the motion of the body is called as unbalanced forces. So, if unbalanced forces are there, then there is a motion in the object. Consider third case. The same box, one boy pushes it with an force 20 Newton. Simultaneously, another boy pushes it with a force 10 Newton. Here we observe that the magnitude of forces are different, but these two forces are acting in the opposite direction. If the body moves, let us find the resultant force or the net force is equal to 20 minus 10, F1 minus F2. So, that is equal to 10 Newton. So, in this case, the resultant force is not equal to 0. That means body is not at rest or it is not moving in the uniform motion, but it is moving with certain velocity, certain acceleration, and this is the unbalanced force. In which direction it is moving? In this case, we have to note that the body always moves in the direction of greater force. If there is an unbalanced force, then the body always moves in the direction of greater force. Thus, it is clear that unbalanced force produces the motion in the body. Let us consider another example. Consider this is an object which has certain mass, and this object is attracted by the gravitation force. This is pulling by the force of gravity. Now this object is at rest because I am holding it. Suppose I leave it, it moves downward. As it moves, it has got acceleration. Because of its mass and its acceleration, it can able to apply a force on another object. Suppose I leave it and I am holding the hand to catch it. Now this object applies a force on my hand. This is at rest. Here, this object applies a force on my hand, but my hand is not moving. It is at rest. Then what about that principle? A force, the force is nothing but force of gravity acts on this object and it moves with a force, that is the product of mass into acceleration, and it hits the hand, but hand is not moving. Why? What about that principle? Let us consider this is the object and this is my hand. Here this object exert a force on the hand, that means force exerted on the hand by the ball, say FHB. According to Newton's third law, this hand in turn exert a force on the ball in the upward direction, say that is force exerted on ball by the hand, FBH. You have to remember that whenever an object come into contact with another object, then Newton's third law comes into play. Here also, in this case, when the object touches the hand, Newton's third law can be applied. So here we can treat the force exerted by the ball on the hand as action and force exerted by the hand on the ball as reaction. Now you know that action and reaction are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. So you can say that because these are the two forces which is equal in magnitude, opposite in direction, because of this the ball comes to rest or the body is not moving at all. But it is wrong, because here the force exerted by this ball is on the hand and force exerted by the hand is on the object. That means here the forces are acting on the two different systems. In the previous case we are consider the equal and opposite forces acting on the same box, but in this case these two forces are acting on the different object. Therefore these two forces not cancels each other. Okay, these two forces not cancel each other because they are acting on two different objects. So according to the principle, because of the force exerted by the hand, the ball should move upward, but the object or the ball is not moving upward. Why? Here when it is moving downward and another force is acting on the ball, so that force is nothing but force due to gravity, that is force on ball due to earth, say FBE. If you consider there are two forces acting in the downward direction, one force is acting in the upward direction, and the magnitude of this and this are equal. That means if there is an additional force in the downward direction, the resultant downward force is more compared to the upward force. If the resultant downward force is more compared to the upward force, then the object should move downwards, but it is not moving in the downward direction. Why it is at rest? In such cases, in order to solve the problems, you have to remember that when we are going to take the effect on the object, we must consider only those forces which acts on that body only. We have to not consider those forces which acts on the other body. That means in this case, the forces actually acting on the object are FBH and FBE, that is force exerted by the hand on the ball and force exerted by the earth. This force FHB, this force is not acting on the ball. This is the force exerted by the ball on the hand. It has to do nothing with the object. Therefore, if this object is at rest, that means that these two forces are balanced each other. These two forces are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction, hence they cancel each other. Therefore, in this case, net force becomes 0. Net force becomes 0. Therefore, when this object is left and it remains in the state of rest on my hand, because the force exerted by the hand on the object is balanced by the force of gravity. Suppose there is no hand. In that case, the object moves downwards. That is, the force on the object is due to the earth only. So, that is FB. And this force is called as unbalanced force. Unbalanced force. I think now it is clear that if there is a balanced forces acting on a body, then net force is 0. In that case, there is no motion of the body. If unbalanced force is acting on a body, then there is a motion in the body. And you have to remain that if two equal and opposite forces acts on a body, then it keeps the body in rest or in uniform motion. If two equal and opposite forces acts on a body, acts on two bodies simultaneously, two bodies, then the force is not equal to 0. Net force is not equal to 0. Next, equilibrium of a particle. Equilibrium of a particle. Already you have studied what is concurrent force. When number of forces acting on a body at a point. If the number of forces acting at a common point, then such forces are called as concurrent forces. If that concurrent forces lies in the same plane, they are called as concurrent coplanar forces. You have studied in the 4th chapter. Now, if a body is at rest or which is at uniform motion, if it is acted by such concurrent coplanar forces, even then the body is at rest, or uniform motion, then we say that the body is in equilibrium. So under the action of concurrent coplanar force, the body remains in the state of rest or remains in the state of uniform motion. Therefore, the equilibrium of a body or a particle, it says that it is the state of rest or uniform motion under the action of concurrent coplanar forces. Let us consider two forces acting on a body. Two forces, say F1 and F2. These two forces acting at a common point, hence they are concurrent. What is the condition for the equilibrium of the particle or the body? The condition for the equilibrium. The condition for the equilibrium is very simple. That is, vector sum of all the forces must be equal to 0. Must be equal to 0. That means you have already studied net force should be equal to 0. Vector sum of all the forces must be equal to 0. Then in this case, the net force or the resultant force, net force is equal to the vector sum of two forces F1 plus F2, that should be equal to 0, which implies F1 is equal to minus F2. That means if two concurrent coplanar force acts on a body, keeps the body in equilibrium only when that two forces are equal in magnitude and an opposite direction. They are acting in the opposite direction. Suppose there are three forces acting on a body, keeps the body in equilibrium. Then see what is the condition for that. Three forces, say three forces F1, F2, F3. Both are acting at a common point, say O. And these three forces acting on the body either of same magnitude or of different magnitude, but these three forces keep the body in equilibrium. Let us find how. The condition for equilibrium is that the vector sum should be equal to 0. In this case, the vector sum of the three forces F1 plus F2 plus F3, that should be equal to 0, which means that F1 plus F2 is equal to minus F3. F1 plus F2 is equal to minus F3. How to find the sum of F1 plus F2? You have already studied in the chapter 4. If the two forces are acting at a point, then the resultant of these two forces can be found using parallelogram law of vector addition. Suppose the resultant of force 1 and force 2 is R12. In that case, R12 is equal to F3 but these two forces are acting in the opposite direction. That means we say that in order to keep the three forces acting on a body in equilibrium, then the resultant of any two forces must be equal in magnitude to the third force, and that should be act in the opposite direction. To keep the body in equilibrium, the resultant of any two forces must be equal in magnitude and opposite in direction to the third force. You can take any force. The resultant and F3 and F1 should be equal in magnitude and opposite in direction to that of F2. Then also the body is in the state of rest or in the state of uniform motion. So in this case, these equilibrium forces, there are three forces are acting. They are represented by the three sides of the triangle taken in order. The three forces are represented both in magnitude and direction by the sides of the triangle taken in the same order. Say that is ABC. The triangle is ABC. We have to write a triangle such that the length of the side must be proportional to the magnitude of the force. Here F3 is greater than other two forces. Therefore, the length of the line AC must be written as longer one. And you must note that this force, the magnitude of force and also the direction of force is parallel to the or perpendicular to the side of the triangle. In this case, I have written the direction of F2 is in parallel with BC. The direction of F1 is in parallel with BA and the direction of F3 is in parallel with AC. From this, it is clear that F1 is proportional to AB and F2 is proportional to BC and F3 is proportional to CA. Or we can write F1 by AB is equal to F2 by BC, that's equal to F3 by C. If this condition is satisfied, then we say that the forces are in equilibrium. These forces acting on the body keeps the body in equilibrium, and this law is named as law of triangle of forces. Law of triangle of forces. F1 by AB is equal to F2 by BC, that's equal to F3 by C. The law of triangle of say that if three forces acting on a body keeps the body in equilibrium, then that forces can be represented both in magnitude and direction by the three sides of the triangle taken in the same order. That means the arrow mark should be in the same order. There is another condition for equilibrium of three forces acting on a body, and that is given by Lame's theorem. Lame's theorem. It says that if three forces, the three forces means concurrent coplanar forces, the three forces acting on a body keeps the body in equilibrium, keeps the body in equilibrium, body in equilibrium, then each force is proportional, each force is proportional to the sine of angle of other two forces, If three forces acting on a body keeps the body in equilibrium, then each force is proportional to the sine of angle of the other two forces. Let us consider three forces acting at a point O. This is the force F1, this is the force F2, this is the force F3. These three forces are concurrent coplanar forces which are acting at a common point O. Let the angle between F2 and F3, say that is alpha. The angle between F3 and F1, say beta, and the remaining angle between F2 and F1 is gamma. So according to this law, the force is proportional to sine of the angle between other two forces. Suppose we consider a force F1, then the force F1 is proportional to the sine of the angle between F2 and F3, and that force is alpha. Therefore we can write F1 is proportional to sine alpha. Similarly F2, and F2 is proportional to sine beta. So the opposite forces are F1 and F3, the angle is beta. So sine beta, and F3 is proportional to sine gamma. From this we can write F1 by sine alpha is equal to F2 by sine beta, that's equal to F3 by sine gamma. So this is the another condition or another formula which represents the three forces acting on a body keeps in a body in equilibrium if this condition is satisfied. You have to remember these two formulas. This formula becomes useful. The first one is F1 by AB, that's equal to F2 by BC, that's equal to F3 by CA. Our AB, BC, CA are the length, side length of the triangle.